Reason why I'm standing up here is because as a community, our hearts are broken. A loss of anyone in our community is painful, but it's particularly painful when it's a young man. And the first thing we should do is, our young brother Elton, we make dua that Allah forgives him, accepts him into Jannah, and gives sabr to his family. So the message I wanted to give was a reminder that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He values life. There's hadith which talk about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says the blood of one Muslim is worth more than the Kaaba and everything around it. And we need to take joy in that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has dignified us. Now, to all the youth that are here, that are listening, it's not about on the street who has more. It's not about who is the bigger man. Because these qualities, pride, ego, arrogance, are not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's one being who hates you. He's hated you since you were born. He's your biggest enemy. He's a bigger enemy to you than anyone on roads. And that's Shaitan. And he knows where he's going. He's going to hell. He's going to hell, and he wants to take you all with him. So he wants you to have the qualities. He'll whisper to you to have the qualities that he wants you to have. He wants you to have ego. He wants you to have pride. He wants you to walk down the street thinking you're a bad man, because you know why? He knows it leads to nothing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told him where he's going. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by telling you that your blood is worth more than the Kaaba and everything around it, He's dignified you, He's honored you. So we need to, as a community, take a bit of pride in ourselves that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has dignified us. We need to, as a community, and as Muslims and as young Muslims, look to the past. Most of us wouldn't be Muslim if it wasn't for young men. Men like Muhammad bin Qasim, who took Islam to Pakistan and India. The warriors from the early Ottoman Empire that made most of the Balkan countries Muslim. They were all young men that aspired to greatness, and they aspired to greatness, they aspired to the qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instilled in them. And Imam Sahib made two very powerful points. He said, remember that all of us are going to taste death. All of us are going to taste death. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written that for you. The choice that you have is how you are going to face Allah. How are you going to face Allah? Are you going to face Him saying, Ya Rabb, this is what I did for your deen. This is what I did. I obeyed your commands. I prayed. I came to the masjid. I helped my community. I helped my brothers. I uplifted my brothers. Or are you going to face Him with empty hands and say, well, I got nothing. I had a rollie. I had a really nice car. I had really nice clothes. I had respect of my boys. Allah doesn't care about any of that. So we need to remember that. What happened in our community is a tragedy. Let's be real about it. It's a tragedy. No father should have to bury their son. It's a tragedy. So as a community, we need to come together and address this. As young men, look to the other young Muslims in the past, the Sahaba that are around our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that did amazing and great things. And remember one thing, that you as young Muslim men, you're not boys, you're men. You are amazing. You know why? And this is what I say to the young men that I see, because we have unique challenges. Think about it. When we grow up, we're facing all these difficulties. Many of us have come from different countries, yet we still manage to come to the masjid. We learn our Quran, we learn different languages, then we learn English, then we deal with all the stuff they have to deal with in this society, and we learn this amazing deen. You guys are amazing, so aspire to greatness like the Muslims before you were. Don't be mediocre because you're not created to be mediocre. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes you as an ummah that's a wit kind. He doesn't describe you as just men that are walking on roads and fighting and having struggles and difficulties and just having nice threads. That's not how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes us. We're witnesses to mankind. So let's draw examples from the sunnah of our Prophet ﷺ. Let's draw examples from the seerah of our noble Prophet ﷺ. Look to the young men, read the seerah. You will find so many different characters there, and you might see a reflection of yourself. If you are facing struggles or difficulties, remember, there are men in the masajid, there are people in your community that are willing to reach out to you. When I look even in this jama'ah, I see brothers that run youth clubs. I see brothers that run boxing clubs. I see brothers that are community leaders that work within the masajid. Reach out to them. We are all young men that grew up in the same community you did. There's brothers here from Manor Park, there's brothers here from Stoke Poges, there's brothers here from Langley, there's brothers who have come up and faced the same challenges you do. So reach out, find support. The masjid, even in this masjid has a knife bin there. With amnesty, no question asked, get rid of them. If there's beef, figure it out, reach out to someone if you can't. If you've got those sort of difficulties, there's always people that are there to help you. Let's not let things end in tragedy. So again, just before I finish, I think the important message to end on is we make dua for our young brother. We're going to make dua that this doesn't happen again in our community. Let's draw lessons from this situation. Let's take a lesson from it together. Jazakallah khair.